Russian military and Z-propagandists found themselves at the epicenter of a loud scandal after a failed operation by sabotage groups that tried to penetrate the rear of Ukrainian forces through a non-functioning gas pipeline in the Sudzha of Kursk region. The operation turned into a disaster. Some of the servicemen suffocated in the pipe due to methane poisoning, and others were eliminated by the Ukrainian military. According to published Russian sources, a sabotage group of the Russian army tried to get to the positions of the Ukrainian Armed Forces via a non-functioning gas pipeline, but encountered the total incompetence of their command. According to some reports, the Russians walked along the pipe for 2 days and were in it for another 4 days without a sufficient supply of oxygen. As a result, some of the Russian soldiers died of suffocation, while others were destroyed by the Ukrainian Armed Forces at the exit. The criticism from Russian war correspondents was unprecedented. Propagandists complain about the lack of normal planning of the operation, ventilation, food, water, ammunition and communication among the saboteurs. Telegram channels associated with the occupation forces openly admit the complete failure of the mission and unjustified losses. A and B climbed through the pipe. A suffocated on the way. B was finished off. Excellent operation. Z-War correspondents comment sarcastically. Other reports say that hype-mongering and leaks led to Ukrainian intelligence knowing about the breakout attempt in advance and setting up an ambush. One Russian source admits outright unjustified losses and the mission was not accomplished. Other military bloggers write about the complete paralysis of logistics and provision of such operations. The lack of normal supplies led to the saboteurs being abandoned in a pipe with literally no chance of survival. 2 or 3 groups in the rear without food, water, communications, evacuation. This is a disaster. War correspondents are indignant. They also admit that information about the failure quickly spread among the Ukrainian forces, which put all Russian sabotage activities in the region at risk. Thus, the operation, conceived as a covert breakthrough, turned into a real farce and massive losses for the Russian army. Units of the Ukrainian airborne assault troops continue to strike Russian special forces who were trying to break through in the direction of Sudzha in the Kursk region along a gas pipeline. This was reported on the Telegram channel of the DSHV. The paratroopers note that the enemy formed sabotage and assault groups that attempted to break through the gas pipeline to Sudzha with the aim of gaining a foothold on the outskirts of the city. However, the DSHV aerial reconnaissance units promptly detected the enemy, after which missiles and artillery strikes were launched against it, as well as strikes using various types of drones. At present, the Russian special forces are being blocked and destroyed. The enemy has already suffered huge losses in this direction.
Труба куда ведет? На Суджу, ёбнуться. Никогда бы не подумал. 12 километров по трубе, сука, воду несу. Чё-то пробка не пропускает или что случилось?
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen held a press conference to mark the 100 days of her second term at the head of the European Commission and to outline her priorities for the coming months. According to Associated Press, she addressed security and the current alliance with the United States. The tasking of the European Council was very clear that we deliver on the National Escape Clause and that we deliver on the proposal with the new instrument, with €150 billion in loans, for joint procurement. We are looking into the topic of cohesion funds, as you know, and to deliver on the private sector, the savings and investment union and a different lending pattern of the EIB, said the president. The United States, they have been for more than 80 years our closest ally. And in the face of adversity, the US and Europe have always been stronger together. And yes, there are differences. But, we might have different views on some topics. But if you look at the common interest that we have, they always outweigh our differences. So I think it's important that we work together. We will have our differences, we have to sort them out, but we will have to find common avenues. Regarding Ukraine, von der Leyen announced they will have to step up their support. We have made sure that the financing gap for the economic survival of Ukraine is closed in 2025. Focusing on this year. And indeed, if you look at what the European Union delivered overall, it's 140 billion euros. And this includes the economic survival or stability of Ukraine, in the year 2025, she explained. Military equipment have been supplied to Ukraine, actually on par with the United States, here. We will have to step up without any question. Finally, von der Leyen reassured that there will be no need to de-risk relations with the US.
It's a huge amount that we are offering now to member states or for joint procurement, 800 billion. So that's enormous. And therefore, I think we will focus now on delivering the legal proposals, which is under time pressure. We are under time pressure to do that. We want to do this before the next European Council. And this is where the focus is on. Of course, if there are interesting ideas, I'm absolutely willing to look into this. But the tasking of the European Council was very clear, that we deliver on the national escape clause and that we deliver on the proposal with the new instrument with 150 billion euros in loans for joint procurement. We are looking into the topic of cohesion funds, as you know, and to deliver on the private sector, the Savings and Investment Union, and a different lending pattern of the EIB. Cut, the other part of your question. The United States, they have been for more than 80 years our closest ally. And in the face of adversity, the US and Europe have always been stronger together. And yes, there are differences, but we might have different views on some topics, but if you look at the common interests that we have, they always outweigh our differences. So I think it's important that we work together. We will have our differences. We have to sort them out, but we will have to find common avenues.
But can you give us a sense of when you expect agreement on the Kaja Kallas initiative, on what steps the EU will be taking to support Ukraine to provide military aid this year, given how critical the situation is and the gap that has opened up with the very big gap from the loss of US aid? Thank you.
Ukraine, we have made sure that the financing gap for the economic survival of Ukraine is closed this in 2025, focusing on this year. And indeed, if you look at what the European Union delivered overall, it's 140 billion euros, and this includes the economic survival or stability of Ukraine in the year 2025. If you look at the military supply, 52 billion euros have been worth military equipment have been supplied to Ukraine, actually on par with the United States. Here we will have to step up without any question. This initiative, Rearm Europe, helps a lot because it gives in two ways at least, and the third one is the possibility of private investment also, possibilities to be faster and more targeted in supporting Ukraine.
What does this plan mean for non-EU countries as Moldova is, and can we expect even more support from the European Union? Thank you.
Moldova, for sure, as a candidate country, can expect a lot of support from the European Union, and I think we are on a very good path. With the growth plan, for example, we're working intensively on giving Moldova more access to the European single market in certain sectors. This comes with investment in Moldova's economy. So Moldova can expect that we stand by Moldova firmly and determined, and of course with the full support that we have given so far, and this will always also be the case in the future.
Regarding the relation with the US, do you think that at some point during your mandate you will have to de-risk the relation with the US as you have done with China?
A clear no. It's a completely different relationship we have with the United States than we have with China.